Hi, thought I'd do an update because I haven't done anything for a while. What I've got to, I've finished the wiring and the gear change and a few other bits and bobs, so I thought I'd show you where I've got to. In relation to the wiring, I thought I'd sort of, if anybody else was doing it, I'd help you out, make it easier. So you need to go to 3 different sites really. I will close up on this, but you need the pin out, which is the pins for the ECU. There's a site called Doctronic. They've got various wiring diagrams. They're basically trying to sell you a converter to convert the dashboard with their little converter, because the dashboard runs off the ECU on the Lotus and the Honda won't run it. It needs a different signal. But what I've done is I've kept the original Lotus ECU, cut most of the wiring out, so all it does is it runs the speedo and the temperature gauges on the dashboard, and the Honda does everything else. But that site is really helpful because it has different wiring diagrams for wiring up different things to a Honda engine. But one of them is Lotus Elise S2 Rover, which is what I've got. So I'll show that one close up, but you need that one. And the other thing is the Lotus service notes, which if you go on Google, you can download the service book for a Series 2 S2 Rover, and it shows you the wiring diagrams. Now with that one, it has the wiring numbers, and the wiring numbers correspond to here, and they've got colours on so you can find out which they are. So when you come to actually wiring it on here, this comes from the Honda engine. You want the engine with this, otherwise you're going to have a nightmare. These go to the ECU, as does that. Those 3 plug into your ECU. This one, most of the cables you don't use, you use about 7, and you want that off the car itself. You want that, and you want the lambda, which is air fuel ratio, which is that one, and you want the female. There's a male and a female, and you want the female, which is the primary lambda sensor. And then what I've done is I've got a Hondata programmed ECU now, sent it away, had it done, and in that you can switch to just the primary lambda sensor, and you can get rid of the immobilizer out of the Honda ECU, which is the big problem. So you can just wire it straight into the loom of the Lotus. If you've got the immobilizer, you need the whole wiring loom, and you can do it, but it's a nightmare, so I wouldn't bother. Plus, once you've got Hondata in, you can program it to do what you want and add things and superchargers and turbos and whatever you want to do. So it's a much better way to go, and that's what I've done. So that's as far as I got with that. Good. So this diagram is downloadable from Google. It's the service manual, basically the dealer service manual for the Rover Elise. So if you go on Google and download this, then you can have all your wiring numbers, which makes life a lot easier. Now I found this one obviously from houseturbo.com, but this is actually the pins on the Lotus Elise ECU, so you can figure out which ones you do and don't need. But basically all you need is the speed for the clocks on the dashboard, and the 2 for the temperature sensors and power and earth to it. The rest of it is scrap really, so it's just a useful guide, this one. So this one's from Doctronic. It's really handy. they're obviously trying to sell you a dash converter, but it does show you which sensor's which, and the ECU connectors, which one's which, and just be careful which way round you're looking at it, because you generally from the back, not the front. But it gives you the colour codes as well on it, and it has, if you look on their site, it has different versions for different cars that you've got. Mine happens to be the Rover, so you look on that and then you can find the right page. Really handy, this one. Right, so this looks like spaghetti, but when you buy the Honda engine, it will come with this loom attached, hopefully. So these two and this one plug into your ECU, and this one here is all the auxiliary, like starter motor and sensors and things like that connect to the car. So what you need to do is get that one from the car itself, and you also need to get that one, which is your lambda. Now there's two lambdas, there's a male and a female, and you want the female one, which is the primary ECU lambda, sorry, and that controls what's going on. So I've put K Pro, Hyundai to K Pro on my ECU, so you can turn one of the lambdas off and just use that one, because there's two on an EP3. So you just turn the original one off, and then you don't need to worry about the immobilizer in the ECU as well. So you connect, it's about 7 wires in there, which connects to this, which is the original Lotus ECU, and these are just two sensors and the wheel sensor. So there's not much going on there, but you still need to power this up. Right, the other thing that's been going on is the gear change. That is the original cable from the Rover. The two went underneath the engine to the back, so it's been rerouted round here. That's the original bracket bent round, and I made these two legs like that, slotted them there and there, so you can adjust it backwards and forwards. If you have it coming this way, the gate goes the wrong way, so you can't work it. So you need to reverse it or put some sort of flip-flop mechanism, which a lot of people do, but why not? So I've got this cable, I bought that from Ven Hill. It's 2.25 meters long. There's a rose joint on the end. Now these come with a 6mm end. That's a 10mm rose joint. So what you have to do is drill and tap that to 6mm, and then tie that into there. And then I welded a bracket further back for the adjustment. But these here, they pivot up and down. Now some cables are solid, so you don't get that pivot, so you have to put a ball unit here which adjusts up and down, which is a nightmare. So I got that on there. Right, inside. Right, this is the gear change. So on there normally would be a plastic cup which pops off every now and again. So I went for the metal one, which has a spring clip around it, which fits into there. Now this is the quick shift. I think it's the Elise parts one, but you need the quick shift, otherwise, hang on, sorry. Otherwise, because this is longer, you haven't got enough throw left and right. And again, 6mm at the end and 8mm in there. So I drilled and tapped it to 10. Got a 10mm bolt in there and drilled and tapped that to 6mm and Loctited it in. So that connects. So we've got a nice solid connection. it's a real nice gear change. Because if you haven't got the quick shift, because of that length, you haven't got enough throw this way. Right, the other thing while we're in here, it's the clutch cable. That's the clutch cable from the Lotus, braided. The earlier Lotuses, these were rubber, and they expanded to give you a funny clutch. So the upgrade was this stainless steel braided clutch, which runs right through the box sections. It's a nightmare to change. So you need this adapter, which I got from Foreign Auto Parts in Burton-on-Trent, but you can get them anywhere, I suppose. And that converts it to 10mm by 1, which is what the Honda is. It will be clipped down, and then a small, I've used cunifer, but you use copper, I suppose, to the slave cylinder. And that sorts your clutch out. And then fuel, obviously the fuel filter, I've gone for a fuel pressure regulator. So it goes in that side, comes out this side, to the same quick release that the Honda had on it. I took the end off and then pushed it into this, heated it up, pushed it into this. And then you can set this at 3 bar. It's 3.5 bar if you've got turbo, but 3 bar standard. And then you could unscrew that and block it up if you wanted. But it's to give you the right fuel pressure. That's a boost reference if you wanted to turbo it. Basically, pressure comes from your inlet manifold, pressurizes that and gives you more fuel pressure, but we don't need it on this. Hi, I just thought I'd do a small update of where I've got to. Basically, I've got round to the exhaust. I've got this far with the manifold. I need to come round here. So I got this when I bought the engine. It's a stainless steel AP3 manifold, which I've cut, bent so to clear this cross member, and obviously re-welded it up and polished it inside. I didn't want to spend sort of 900 quid on a bespoke one, so what I've done is decided to do my own. So I've got that to there. This is a Janspeed stainless back box for just a standard Elise, and that's the corner from it. That's a 200 cell stainless steel cat off eBay, 3-inch flexible off eBay. So that's going to go in there, in that gap, and then I've got to do some pie cuts to make a tight bend into the bottom of that manifold. So that's basically the next job. Get the exhaust sorted.